Okay, we're here tonight, and we're talking with Neil Howe and Craig Williams from the Global Authority Agency out of Atlanta. So welcome, Neil and Craig.
Thank you, Christina. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. Now, can you talk to me a little bit about what it is that you do for businesses at Global Authority Agency?
Well, what we do is we look for people who are experts in the community, and we look for people who have a message to get out about their services, and we manufacture their authority so that they're seen as an established authority within their market, and it gives them the extra credibility that they need to get out to that marketplace and let people know exactly what it is that they're doing and what their services can do for them.
Now, I've heard that authority marketing is this new type of marketing that businesses really need to use that's so much more valuable to them than what's been available to them until recently, the traditional SEO or traditional news media. So can you talk about what exactly is authority marketing?
Well, authority marketing it's kind of similar to SEO in a way. The whole point of SEO was to get other people talking about you and to be found and be seen. And that's what we do with authority marketing. But instead of just an average business person who is competing with the rest of the people on the page, we're making that expert actually stand out, and we give them that extra credibility in their market by having them featured on some of the big name news media and newspaper sites, so they get that instant third party credibility. So it's similar to SEO in a way that third party credibility that you would get from links from other sites is now coming from things that have just that little bit more authority than just another website. It's coming from ABC, NBC, CBS. So you're quoted as an expert on those kind of sites.
I can see how that would be very valuable because ABC, CNN, CBS, some of the large newspapers are well recognized, and they're known for producing quality stories and really presenting people in an expert light. Now, I understand that this is sort of a new way to position an entrepreneur or a small business or anyone who could be seen as an expert in their industry. Could you talk about how they might use this service that you're talking about, this authority marketing, and exactly what you do with the Global Authority Agency? How do they use that to position themselves to sell more service?
Like you said, it's all about positioning and how you are seen by your customers or potential customers. The more authority that you have, it means the more control in the market that you have. If you're somebody like Donald Trump, he is the ultimate celebrity authority, and he does business on his terms. He doesn't need to negotiate price. His price is high and it's firm, and people are happy to pay to stay in one of his buildings, maybe over and above what it would be to stay in a similar building next door, because of the positioning that he has and the respect that being associated with that can give them.
So this is a little bit like not only are you gaining expert status, but sometimes it could even transition into gaining kind of celebrity status and being very well known for what you do. Now, Craig, we don't want to leave you out. Can you give me an example just to kind of illustrate the point that Neil's talking about of maybe a specific industry or a company that you can imagine using this to position themselves as an authority?
I agree so much with what Neil has said thus far, but one thing I'll say is that this type of marketing has been around as long as there's been media, and it's just not been – what we've done is pretty much put it on demand and aggregated a number of mediums as opposed to a particular say you've been on Oprah or any type of show, even if it's in the news. There's Good Morning America, there's USA Today, and there's also those local versions of that in each market. And many people, whether it's a business or individual who's a specialist in any area, who has a following, they have been able to get in the media and the local news, and that's pretty much a form of it. Basically what we do is just put it on steroids. We create that opportunity for those tribes to have something to point at, and it's nothing like someone else talking about you as opposed to you promoting yourself. This is for the self-promoter and the non-self-promoter. Basically, it's an opportunity for them to and I love how Neil said we manufacture it, and it's not that we manufacture it from nothing. There has to be substance. There has to be content. There has to be a form of authority or expert persuasion of the individual, whether they're speaking to their service or their business. So I would say across the board, if you're looking to reach the masses, this would be the greatest formula to do that, because we're using this type of marketing with SEO, Facebook, Twitter. Every social media medium is being used to get to the masses, and the person who has the most followers tend to be some sort or perceived as an authority. It's just that the brands that we're dealing with are at the top, the CNNs, the CBSs. Usually even the best speakers or professionals, even Donald Trump, I mean, his brand is usually a CNBC or NBC. You're going to usually see him on those two networks. What we're able to do is offer that across the board for all the networks. I like to use the terminology of manufacturing or an on-demand positioning. That's what we do with the authority marketing, and it's more of a persuasion as opposed to manipulating your followers or your tribe. It's a platform for influence.
And for those that don't know, Craig Williams is our resident social media expert, so you definitely have your thumb on the pulse of what's going on and how to really position authority marketing and being in the news and experts for businesses so that they get kind of the most leverage out of every time that they're featured in the news. More people can see it than they would just at those sites. Either one of you, tell me, what do you really think that the competition's going to think when they really see businesses just stepping up to this new level that they can't even touch?
Well, I think, it's something that really separates the people on the first page of Google, where 80% of people searching for a local business are going to the first page of Google, but they're doing a deeper search once they make a choice of, the 1, 2, or 3. They've made 3 choices, and then they're doing a deeper search, especially if it's in a business where they're going to spend a large amount of money, whether it's a dentist or a plastic surgeon or a lawyer. Whenever there's a lot of money changing hands like that, they're not just picking whoever's in the top. They're doing a deeper search. So they're looking deep into that company and seeing what they're all about, seeing what kind of person that they are, and basically they're looking for that credibility and they're looking for that trust from what other people are saying about them. And that is where we step in, and we really help with those conversions from going from 1 of 3 or 1 of 10 on the main page to stand out as really the one and only choice when you're making that decision.
I also think when it comes to the competition, it's basically going to make it more quality concentrated. A lot of times on the first page, whether it's SEO or Google or what have you, some people are able, because they have the dollars to get on the front page, they pay for that positioning. Here we're looking at building an individual through content, through more of a sure quality individual. We're positioning them not with fluff, but with true content. I think that it's going to kind of hold the industry accountable to what they're going to be offering. It's going to have the competition reconsider. Well, I mean, they're going to have to look at what they're offering and saying, hey, not so much that they feel that they have to justify the same prices, but the value proposition. They're going to reevaluate what they're offering to the marketplace. And I think it's just going to be better for the consumer both ways. The consumer's looking for a reason to affirm their choice. And when they have more credibility or more influence that's involved, and when you have the brands like we're dealing with, and we have the brands that extend across the nation, then that helps them with their decision making, because not only the perception but the reality of what those brands represent. Kind of force those that are out in that market to reach into their not bag of tricks but bag of tools to offer to the consumer to make sure they're getting the more bang for their buck.
I personally think that there's a real problem, too, that so many businesses now have kind of caught up with the technology that they have some sort of a basic website up. So someone's not able to stand out anymore just because they were kind of ahead of the curve and they got a website. So now they need something else. So when you go and you Google something where there's a lot of businesses and a lot of choices for consumers, like a pest control company, and I'm in Minnesota, so Minneapolis is a very large place with many small cities and suburbs surrounding it, it becomes difficult for the consumer to decide, I don't know what I need, I just know I want the bugs to go away. Like that was what the problem was, to be able to actually go and find businesses that stand out because they have that history that you're talking about, where as a consumer I can see multiple articles in many different places in the media nationwide, and they're all pointing back to this expert, and I can read in their own words some of the things that they've said about tips on how to solve problems and things that they tell their customers. You almost feel like you know that person before you ever made the phone call. So if I have to choose between whoever is AAACE in the yellow pages or some random Google page where they're all pest control companies about the same distance from my house, but I don't really know their websites look about the same, and then the one that is very differentiated and I can read about them, I feel like I know them, I see other people recognize them as an expert, I know where I'm going to call. But tell me, what does it really mean when you can get customers to really, like your customers, so your businesses that you work with at Global Authority Agency, to just break through and get results from what you do? What does that mean to them and their business?
I think there's a lot of people that have strived for many years to try and get that recognition, and they're doing some good things online with their websites, and they're trying to write blog posts, and they're trying to get content out there, but it's not being seen and it's not being taken note of. Now, what happens when we step in is everything that they've been saying up to this point that nobody's really been listening to, all of a sudden people are starting to listen to them and they're taking note of them, and it just gives them that feeling of worth again and just that passion again for their business, and it brings back that vitality to the business, and the excitement that we see when people see that they've been quoted on ABC and NBC, and they're putting it out on their Facebook page, and they've got friends and family and customers all congratulating them. It's just something that really gives them the confidence to go ahead and be the best that they can be, and really put that energy and life back into their business.
I completely agree, Neil. Go ahead.
I also think it adds like a momentum for sustainability. I mean, when you're associating yourself with these large brands, it also calls you to reach inside yourself and be what you haven't been in the past, because now you've attached yourself to something greater than you, and you kind of feel that, hey, I got to keep stepping up, and I got to keep. It's a mindset, I think. It's more of a mindset that it helps feed that and nurture that expert and authority mentality once you put yourself out there, as we will put you out there. If you're not ready for this, it's probably best that you start working that muscle of shifting that mindset to know what you're really being positioned for. And I think we tend to position an individual for their greatness.
I want to expand upon that thought a little bit, Craig. You're talking about some people are not always 100% ready for this. It's too fast, too powerful. They're just not ready to really feel what a difference this can make. So when you talk to people about authority marketing and really positioning them to just go above and beyond what their competitors are able to do and being seen as an expert, what are some of the common doubts or fears that they express to you when they're like, I don't know? Because I think if we talk about them openly, maybe you can address some of those for some people.
Yeah, I think the number one, and especially one that's common with us, is my site's not ready. We're always looking for the perfect presentation of when we get and it's not that we generate traffic, we just help that traffic that comes to feel good about the fact that they're a part of the traffic. But it's more of people now saying, hey, they're really putting themselves out there. That celebrity thing does kind of scare most of us away in a sense that, it's just like public speaking. If I've got to go in front of a lot of people, it kind of, I'm having to think about it a little bit more. If I could just stay in my comfort zone. And basically, I think there's greatness in everyone. I think everybody, if they really reflect on the why they do what they do and stay there, they'll realize that they're going to have to step outside of what they're comfortable with. Whether it's my website, or I don't have a toll-free number, or I don't have the infrastructure to support all of this. And you never will if you don't make the first step. So, there's a laundry list of excuses or reasonings that we have for not stepping into our greatness. I think that's what it's all about. And you said the key word, it's fear. The bottom line is we are fearful of failure, or we're fearful of success at times. Basically, what we like to do is just hear the person out so that they can share with us what that fear is, and then kind of give them that shove, because it's almost like when we're sitting in front of you, it's like we're already in 30,000 feet up in the air, and you've got this incredible backpack that we help you pack, and we tested it, and you said you wanted to make the big jump, and the red light is flashing, but it's seconds before the green light flashes, and we are the ones that give you that nudge, because we're up in the plane, and there's only one way down for you. What we do is we kind of deal with, and that's the great thing about, one of the reasons why I'm so excited about being hooked up with Neil is because of his extensive background in the SEO, the pay-per-click. I know enough to get me in trouble, and I know a lot about marketing and branding, but he is an expert and authority in that space, whereas I've had the asset of having what we're sharing with others for close to 10 years, having that credibility online for tens of millions of people having access to, or having already known because of my exposure to certain media over the years. So it's just a matter. I know how to address that. Hey, I know what that feels like, but you're in business to do what? And I ask them those types of questions to get them past that fear, and kind of nudge them on to, well, if not now, then when?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. You've been in this space of fear, feeling like, okay, I'm going to be well known, people are going to know who I am, they're going to know my name, and yet you've walked through it, come to the other side safely. So you have a lot of credibility when you're talking with clients who are about to make this giant leap for their business. Can we talk about your experiences and sort of how did you even get into that space where you became well known and had to step through that fear?
I was the type of guy that never met a stranger anyways. So I was, and growing up, I was an agent of change, and I say that only because I was conceived in one state, born in another, and was raised in another, and I found myself back in that state that I was even conceived in. And so I was always moving around, 6 different elementary schools, and so I was used to meeting people, so I never had an issue with meeting people. But it's all relative, right? Because I was a part of a church that had 30,000 members. Most people have not had that type of exposure, but when you've been able to be in front of people, whether being a musician, I've been a musician and performed and that type of thing, but it's all relative. When I got into the media spotlight with Donald Trump and The Apprentice, I was looking at it was more of really continuing to live my life in front of an audience. And I didn't see the 15 million people that watched us every week. I knew that they were watching, but it was about being myself. With others, they have an audience too. Everybody's got an audience. Some we're not even aware that we have the audience. So it's a matter of it's not just about performing, but being who you're going to be in business or in your area of influence or your area of expertise or authority. you already have an audience anyway. And I think it's more of we just need to be reminded that you already have an audience. How do you want to reach outside of that audience? How do you want to persuade that audience that you have to make the decisions to help themselves by using you or using your services or buying your product? It's the perspective. It's shifting the perspective of the individual. I had to shift the perspective, not so much that I just fell into it. It was a means to an end for me, but it was still that I was going to still be myself, and I still wanted to show my wares. And having that opportunity that I could not have bought, and to be able to show my wares in front of so many people gave me that stock, that credibility, as you said, that authority, that expertise, badge of honor, to be able to say, hey, if he could do it in front of this many people, it must be the real deal, or it must be, it has to be true, the loops that he jumped through, or the millions of people that lined up for that position, but he was one of the 18 or the 16 that was chosen, or he was the last man standing on his season. Those things speak. We all have those stories.
I think, Craig, what you're talking about is because you were on that show, you are now seen as the authority. And all the credibility that Donald Trump has and all the authority that the brand NBC has is now transferred to you. So when you're stepping out there, you have that authority and credibility as well.
Exactly.
What we're trying to do for other businesses within their own market, we're trying to transfer that credibility from those big brands that Craig has been a part of, and we're transferring it to the small businesses so they have that instant credibility within their market. And that's a great thing about it is instant. It's not something that we have to build for months or years. We can deliver this instant credibility, and it makes an instant change to the business in their market.
Certainly.
And Neil, I haven't forgotten about you. I really think that you and Craig have a wonderful partnership just for the reason that you have such diverse, that when you put them together and come together as business partners, then you're more well-rounded. Now, can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, I think, like you said, we work very well together because, I'm the more kind of analytical SEO type person, and I've done that for years, that side of marketing, where Craig, on the other hand, has been more involved with the brand and being the authority, which now with what we're doing together, we're able to, take both sides of what we do best and bring it together and make it, a really good deal for the people that we're working with. SEO has changed over the last few years, and most businesses are very disillusioned with what's happening, and, they're on page 1 of Google 1 minute, and then Google makes a change, and they're completely gone, and it's destroying businesses. But I think what we're able to offer now with the branding is something that can last forever, and it's something apart from Google. It's something that can be used if you're able to use those logos of ABC and Fox and NBC and all that kind of stuff. You can use it in your direct marketing campaigns. You can, for mail to doors, you can use it in your email campaigns. You can use it in social media. So you're not relying on Google and what their change is going to be. This is something that you're going to have for the rest of your life, that you're going to be able to be seen as that credible authority.
Definitely, and neither you nor Craig are telling people to do anything that you haven't done yourself. So it's not, do as I say and not as I do, because you're both following the same path of establishing authority and expert status for yourself. And that way, when you do work with these businesses, you're really talking from that place of experience where you can kind of say to them, look, I've done this and it made a difference, so how long are you willing to wait in order to make this happen?
Exactly.
We find that, businesses are, they want to do something different, and they're trying a little bit here, a little bit there, but they just don't have the ability to be transformed into the authority. And, let's face it, once you're that authority, you can do business on your own terms. You can raise your prices, and you're still, going to be in demand. anyone who's an authority and an expert in their field is always in demand, and that's something that we can offer.
Now, Neil, I'm going to direct this to you since you really are coming from this background of dealing with the SEO and ways to get businesses on Google. Do you feel like with the changes in the recent years and how much it changes all the time and the patterns they used to use to get businesses recognized, is SEO dead?
No, I don't think SEO is ever going to be dead. It is getting a lot harder, and we're not really dealing with businesses who are looking for, if they don't get this, they're not going to make a paycheck next week. We're actually looking for businesses who are established, but they're at that place where they want to jump above the competition. There's always somebody in every market that is the dominant player, and they're able to spend more money on advertising. They're always in the news, and it's very frustrating because you can't reach that level without spending years and years to either work on your SEO or spend thousands and thousands of dollars in advertising. But what we're able to do within a very short period of about a week is we're able to make that jump so that you're now seen as that authority and the number one person to go to in the market.
Right.
So even though, SEO is still valuable, we never know what Google's going to do next. But this is kind of a Google-proof way of always having stability in your business.
I also think we complement any SEO strategy that you may be committed to and you believe in, whether it be pay-per-click or what have you. I think what we're doing is going to complement, because it's still about content. A lot of what changes with Google and the analytics are how that content is distributed, whether it's video or blogging or what have you. That's changing in those AdWords or what have you. Whereas what we do is still that universal. Like Neil just said, it's Google proof, because even the almighty Google has to bow down to brands that are in the media, these other media outlets who really, where they get a lot of their advertising dollars, the NBCs, the CBSs, and what have you. They're a media distribution channel as well for Google as well. So I think he was spot on when he said it's Google proof. It's a universal platform that will be around for time to come.
I thank you both so much for coming and talking with me about Global Authority Agency and authority marketing and how powerful this really can be for businesses to just go up to the next level and go above and beyond anything that their competition can reach. Is there any last thing that you'd like to add?
I'd just like to say thank you so much, Christina, for having us, and we look forward to many more conversations with you.
Oh, yes, definitely. I've enjoyed talking with you both, and every time I talk with you both, I learn so much that I can apply in my own business and with clients that I work with, and I certainly recommend to them that this authority marketing is something that they really need to just step out of that fear and get for themselves so that they can grow their business and really realize that dream and that excitement and that passion that they had when they first started their business. I hope you guys both have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Christine.